Hello, I am your host Amy Amabel and welcome to this week's edition of LiveLifeCheckingIn Travel News. Today we will be talking to Thilo Lippert, the director and co-founder of the Nexus Group. Hello Thilo.
Hi Amy.
Thank you for joining us in studio today. We are very excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So before we get into the business and how you've made this whole concept a success, we would like to know who Thilo is outside of the work environment. So can you tell us a bit of just a sort of a background story of maybe your upbringing?
My upbringing. Okay, I was born in Freiburg in Germany, and I spent the first 4 years of my life, then moved on to Munich. This is obviously quite a few years ago. Let's not give away the age too much, but then moved to Munich, and with 11 my parents immigrated to South Africa. So we came to South Africa when I was about 11. This was 19 my father at the time was actually involved in the Gordons Bay Dam, Steenbrugdam development. So we came with a German construction company. And yes, then I went to South African schools. At that time, when I left Europe, they still told me, oh, there's lions running around in the streets in Africa, so be careful, you know. But
they still believe
probably
that.
still do, yeah.
Awesome. Alright, so you've mentioned that you've traveled a lot, so that is obviously what attracted you to this industry. How did you get started, like right from the beginning? What motivated you?
Okay, in the various companies that I was involved in, and some of them were travel companies, I did travel a lot, business-wise. And time again, I booked into these 4-5-star places, and I realized that there was a huge margin in there. And I also had a little bit of a light bulb on, and I thought, how do I put the end user together with the time and space which these establishments are basically selling? Until the day when I actually said, okay, there are many companies out there that have closed user groups. Now, let's say you stayed at the Movenpick in Bahrain and you paid, let's say 5,000 Rand for the night in a nice suite there, and I've got access through various channels to get the same time and space for 2,000 Rand. If you were to stay there for 7 nights, that would then obviously be 21,000 Rand you could save in 1 week in the same place. Now, if your membership fees, so to speak, were, let's just assume, around 350 Rand a month, and you spent that in 12 months, which would then be 4,200 Rand, versus a saving of 21,000 Rand, you've actually scored nearly, what is it, 16,000, 17,000 Rand into your pocket just by being hooked up to the right system.
So what would you say is the core values of your business and running a successful business?
The core values, I don't believe, remain the same. I actually think that core values change over the years. When you first start out in a business, you get into it and you're trying to pay the rent and you're trying to keep your people on board and make sure the salaries are paid, etc., etc. Once you get to a certain level, the core values change. We've now got to a situation, interestingly enough, in these times, I call them the COVID times, where our core value has somewhat changed to actually, and we've been talking about this quite a lot, creating opportunities for people that have lost opportunities. We are actually, within a certain time period, creating 40,000 more opportunities out there for people to have a decent income and actually will be able to afford holidays after the airports and the planes and international travel has opened again, and not having to use their own money, or let's say the money that they've now lost during these times. And we all know that the economic hardships of our times right now, and people are not going to be frivolous after these hardships in international or even domestic travel. People are going to keep money tighter. So what we're doing is we're putting that money back into their pockets again to be able to take the families on a decent holiday, to be able to take the families out there and at least get that out of life, which life should actually be about. If you think about it, work is great. Traveling to work every morning is great. But you could also say it's a little bit of a race, right? If we're quite honest with it. What do we do it for? We do it for our families, we do it for our survival, we do it for our quality time together and to get out there. And when you think about it, when you're sitting at Beacon Isle, Plettenberg Bay, for example, and you're down there on the beach and there's 5 or 10 of you as a family and you're having fun down there, isn't that what it's really all about, right? That's just a domestic holiday. If I get into the international field, it becomes really expensive when we're talking about rands. So the financial aspects of saving on your holidays, firstly, and secondly, somehow covering that holiday through the Nexus Group, right, becomes very much a reality and a fact of what people need these days. And if you can, on top of that, earn a few bucks to supplement what you've lost during these times, we are helping our members. So when you ask the question core value, it's becoming a social thing. It's becoming something that we feel we are giving back. And we're quite happy doing that. That's our mission and that's where we're going.
And thank you all for tuning in. I'm your host, Amy Amabel, and this is #LiveLifeCheckingIn Travel News, powered by the Nexus Group. And remember to #LiveLifeCheckingIn, by invite only.